Yeah, well, I think that last point you made, Jason, is really good because I think we run the risk if we hyperreact, if we overreact, if we fixate, we actually run the risk of talking out of both sides of our mouth, right? Because on the one hand, we're like, wait, this isn't your identity, but all of a sudden, like, I'm actually going to put this hyper focus on this thing and treat you differently because of it. Like, well, wait a minute, like, what's going on with that? You know? And so, yeah, I would say, like, first of all, um, listen, right? Listen to what they are saying. You can, I mean, ask some clarifying questions. I'm all, maybe in the moment, read the kid's body language. Maybe they're super stressed out, about it. But to say, okay, like, to listen to what they have to say, affirm your love for them, right? I mean, if we're talking about family, right? I mean, I think the reality is that, like, we all need to receive, like, the loving gaze of our heavenly Father, and that is mediated in such a powerful way through our parents, right? It really is. And so to be able as a parent to reaffirm, like, that, thank you for sharing this with me. I realize this is a lot to entrust me with, right? I mean, how many kids hide vulnerable stuff from their parents? So many, but the fact that your kid wants to tell you this, that's huge, right? That's a sign of relationship on the part of your child. And so to affirm your love for them, thank them for sharing this vulnerable part of their life. And to be frank, I actually wouldn't get into a big conversation right then and there. Like Jason, like you were saying, you have kind of the long game here. You have this, like, whole, your kid's gonna go to bed upstairs and you're gonna see him in the morning. And so I would ask, actually, maybe for a little time, to say, thank you so much for sharing this. I would love to just, like, think and, like, just pray about what you've shared a little more. And, like, can we talk about this again in a week, or give yourself some time to maybe to moderate that out, right? Because I think, like you were saying, Jason, there's going to be emotions, right? And so moderate that out, like, look up some good resources, and come back and have that conversation, because you are going to want to know, like, a little bit more of, like, okay, kid, like, what are you thinking about doing with this? And I would also even ask, like, do you know, like, find out, like, do they know what the church teaches on it? Not just what not to do, right? But do they know, that, like, this invitation to chastity, that, do they know that this doesn't impact how you see their dignity, how the church sees their dignity, right? And making sure to kind of clarify those doctrinal points as needed, because you're, again, the primary catechist, but don't feel the need to do that in conversation one. Give yourself some time, do a little research, continue the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's such an important point. I heard the quote once that rules without a relationship creates rebellion. And that's true between God and man. It's true between parents and children. And so, I mean, the whole approach of Eden Invitation is really compassionate orthodoxy. And I think those words are also put in proper order, and they need to be united. I mean, if you have truth without charity, or charity without truth, you're not giving people what they deserve. And so to lead in with that charity. So if you're going to have them walk away from that first conversation, you want to make sure they walk away feeling heard, feeling listened to, not like, okay, well, I'm glad you told me. Let me tell you why that's unethical. It's like, okay, we can work that. We got to accompany them in the truth, so that we're not like, okay, well, hey, you be you. It's like, okay, well, you need affirmation, you need love, but then part of love is telling people the truth and giving them the truth that, hey, chastity is what you're called to, and then when the time comes right, show them something. Things I'd recommend personally is like Desire of the Everlasting Hills or The Third Way. These are movies that have been created, and I'll put a link to them down in the show notes after the show. You can just go to chastity.com/SSA, same-sex attraction, and there you'll see some of your videos, some of Shannon's. We've got Desire of the Everlasting. Show these videos, because they're not from my perspective. They're from the perspective of people experiencing the attractions and why they've chosen to embrace chastity and how they've realized the church is their home.